Hey everybody, welcome to Journey Through the Generations. I am Phillip.
Hey guys, I'm Trisha.
And we want to welcome you to our very first recap episode of Relative Race.
We are super excited. As many of you know, the episode started tonight, Sunday the 21st, and it took a while for it to come back because of COVID, so we had to wait an extra long time a little bit. So we're super excited that it's back tonight.
Yep, so we ran into a little bit of a technical issue that was my fault. I meant to go in early to the BYUtv app and make sure it was working and all that good stuff, but I forgot. And it was 8 o'clock and it was time to watch it, and we went and it said log in.
Who remembers all their passwords?
I don't remember my login information, but I was able to get it and we didn't miss anything important. So that was good. So it worked out. Very good episode.
Oh yeah, I was very impressed with it. Again, I've been waiting on this for over a year. So yes, I was very happy with the episode. I think all the teams are gonna be really good.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed right away was the lack of COVID information.
Right, unless it was those first 2 minutes that we missed.
That's true. That's a good point. Probably should go back, but we didn't see people with a mask, and that was weird.
So yeah, right? I'm not sure if they had already taped the season 7 before the COVID had hit, or if they were waiting. So I'm not sure where they were in the process of the show, if they had taped and then everything shut down, they couldn't edit it or anything. I'm just not sure.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that if it was recorded during the peak of COVID this summer, I'm willing to bet that they did everything. They tested
for sure
everybody several times and made sure people wear masks, when they were close together,
right,
with the production crew and camera people and all that stuff. I'm willing to, that's what everybody's doing.
Right.
So.
I have no doubt I'm sure what they did, but they did do something different in the beginning of the show, which was they usually meet at some big place like the St. Louis Ark or in Washington, D.C. at one of the statues. But this year they actually started at the contestants' home. So they didn't have to go anywhere. So that makes me kind of think that they were kind of in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me, because it would be hard to travel.
Right, because they usually have to fly to one place.
Right, so I just don't think that was, that was a part of, it being, COVID.
Yeah,
so,
maybe I'll do some. But
it's interesting.
Yeah, I'll do some digging around and see what I can find about it.
So before we get too deep in this episode, let's introduce you to the contestants on Relative Race. So Team Green is Monica and Megan. I believe Monica is the one that's adopted.
Correct.
And she was given up she was given up by her parents when she was 12. And so her thing is, there's older kids that weren't given up for adoption, and there's younger siblings.
Right, she's in the middle.
So her thing is, well,
why me?
Yeah.
Why we all didn't have to.
Which is natural.
Right. And this is, Team Green is the first time that on this show that they've had a team that's not related or married. They're best friends. So they're actually not related. Like, it's usually married couples or a parent and a child or siblings. So that's a new twist on that this season.
Yeah, it's been 7 seasons of Relative Race, so I find that really interesting that, I guess it makes sense that it would be family members doing it together.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that her friend Megan is doing it.
Right.
For
and
her.
So supportive of her, and they only been friends for 6 years. So it's not like they grew up together or anything. So I think that's really cool that she was able to do this with her, because you have to have somebody with you to be able to be on the show.
Yep. The next team is Team Black. That's Casey and Sean. They're from Ohio. They're opera singers.
Which they introduced themselves by singing, which took me a little bit off guard.
Yeah. I didn't
It
think
was
they
beautiful,
would,
but
yeah.
I was like, oh, they sing.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have guessed opera singers
No.
when I saw them. So in this, and I'm calling this episode like adoption, I don't know.
Season 7, the adoption season.
or
Yeah.
something. I haven't been watching Relative Race since season 1, so I'm not sure if this has ever happened, but every team has at least one adopted person on the team.
Right. No, I don't think
I don't know
so.
if that's ever happened or not.
No, I don't think so. I think this is the first time that every team has somebody who's been adopted.
Right. So Casey is the one adopted out of Team Black, and she's looking to find her mother and any other kids that her mother may have had,
right.
Some siblings. And then we have twin brothers, Joseph and Anthony from Team Blue.
Yes, they're twins, and they were adopted right after birth. So they found out they were adopted when they were 11 or 12 years old. So they've known for a long time that they were adopted, and they are looking for any family that they can find.
Right. And then Team Red, Elizabeth and Devin, they're from Pennsylvania. It's a married couple, and both of these contestants were adopted.
Yeah, which I think is interesting, and I'm pretty sure this is the first time that has happened as well. So yeah, it's interesting because they both know one parent, have met one parent, or know of one parent. So they're in search of that other parent.
Yeah.
And their family.
Mm-hmm. And Elizabeth, and I think they refer to her as Liz on the show, mm-hmm. But she is biracial, but her adopted family is white.
Right.
And so she knew, from an early age, she looked different
right,
from everybody else. And looking at those family photos, it's pretty obvious. It's pretty clear.
Yeah. And Devin was adopted by his uncle on his mom's side, so he's familiar with that side of his family.
Right. So, so those are the teams. I think these are 4 good teams. Mm-hmm. There's not a team that I'm like,
I don't know about.
I'm have to, do something with Monica and Megan. we'll talk about that in a minute.
We'll get to that later.
But I think they'll get it together.
I don't know. That could have been me, though.
I don't know. So we'll see. But yeah, so I put it on Twitter today that we usually pick who we like to win before the season starts.
Right.
And I think this is probably the first time we both chosen the same team.
Yes, it is.
So we're both going for Elizabeth and Devin, Team Red.
Team Red, yes. We picked that from the interviews that they do and they post on social media starting a couple weeks before the show. So we watched all of the videos and the intros of the teams, and we chose Team Red.
Yeah, I think their story is, all the stories are interesting.
Yeah, but they're both adopted.
Yeah, they're both adopted, but they're different from Joseph and Anthony because they're brothers.
Correct.
But these are 2 adopted people who came together, and got married.
And started a family.
Yeah, so to me, I don't know, I just felt, that I like that kind of interesting story to see how that happens.
How that happened, yeah. And that they should... they're so supportive of each other because I know they understand what each other is going through because they're both looking for that missing link in their family. So,
yeah. So the episode started, like Trisha mentioned, with the contestants receiving their cars at their home.
Right. Which, if you've never watched Relative Race, welcome. But the teams drive across country in a car with no GPS, no internet, no nothing, no radio. It's just them in a car, and they go from city to city and find relatives. And usually they meet at one place and they get in their car and go from that one place. But this season, everybody started at their own home, and they brought the car to them, and then they found the information in the trunk of their car. So they had a conference call with Dan, them all in the trunk of their car looking at the laptop.
And the one thing I noticed right off is that Dan is sporting the quarantine beard.
He did have a beard.
And the quarantine, I've never seen him.
No, I don't think he's ever had a beard before.
Yeah, at least not on the show.
No.
So, but yeah, I'm calling that his COVID quarantine beard.
Yeah, it looked nice though.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. But yeah, in the back of the cars, they had a lockbox, which is what they use to put their phones, their smartphones
in, because they can't use them.
Right. They had a GPS, which we'll talk about that in just a second. It had a computer
the laptop,
for them to talk to each other, and their first envelope with where to go next.
Right.
So that started it off.
Right. And since they started at their house with their cars, the first challenge was to find their backpacks. Because the backpacks have all their maps in them, their flip phone, because that's the only kind of phone you can use, is a flip phone with no GPS, and all of their maps and everything. So that's how the first challenge was. And
this GPS unit that they use is not your traditional GPS that we know.
Right. All I could do was turn it on.
Yeah, I would be able to use it because I know what it was used for.
I was looking like, what is that?
But, it's something that if you don't know what it is, it would be difficult to use. And
it was just a fancy compass is what I gathered from it.
Yeah, but it uses GPS coordinates.
Which I have no idea what that is.
And so you follow that, and it shows you, like on a compass, which direction to go. And so usually people who go out hiking or wilderness trips or
I don't do any of
whatever, they use it to be able to locate where they're supposed to go. And today's GPS that you have in your car
that I have problems using,
it uses the same kind of thing. It's just in the background, you don't see it. So.
Right, but today's GPS tells you turn on Main Street, take a left on First Street.
And you still get lost. So what's the difference?
This is true. Hence why I would not have been able to use this fancy compass that they gave these teams.
Right. So when they opened their envelopes had GPS coordinates to find their backpack.
Which is directions and numbers.
Yeah, well, it's numbers.
Okay.
Yeah, so the coordinates take you to it. Everybody had to put in their own coordinates, which everybody fumbled with.
Correct.
But I felt like that most of their teams got the hang of it
pretty quick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But Team Green. Let's talk about my friends, Monica and Megan.
Which, in my spirit, I feel like that would be me. And you would be mad at me, looking at me like, really? This what you doing?
No, that would not be us, because I would say, no, we ain't about to walk 3 miles looking for no backpack. We gonna get in this car whether we can use it or not. And then
yes, they put the coordinates in the little fancy compass thing, and then they took off walking instead of getting in their car driving towards the coordinates that they needed to go to.
My mouth was wide open. I was like, are they really gonna walk?
And then one of them said, should we walk? I mean, maybe we should just get in the car and drive. And I was like, no, I think we're supposed to walk.
Well, she was asking a bunch of questions. Should we do this? Should we do that? Should we do this? And it's like, somebody needs to say,
look, this is what we're doing.
Let's go back. And it looked like they had walked about half a mile before they decided.
I think it was probably a little longer than that, because they went in one direction and then walked back. And then they went in the other direction and walked back.
It don't matter. It's still too far.
Yes. And even Dan said, they have a car. They can drive.
Yeah. And no one said,
Because nobody could.
You're not supposed to drive. You have to walk.
Correct.
Somebody would have said that.
It would have been in the
directions.
directions.
If that was the case.
Right.
So.
But they finally got it together, decided they were going to get in the car. And they did get in the car. And they took off. And they did end up finding the backpack.
They did.
Now, they had to turn around a few times. But they found the backpack.
It was hilarious. It was really funny. I just can't believe that they just took off walking.
They did. They took off walking. And I just wonder, what was the producers thinking and the cameramen? They was probably laughing.
Probably were. And it was probably mad that they had to walk too.
With them, right?
I mean, I would have been. No, we're not trying to do that,
No.
bro. We're not doing that. So,
but the other teams seem to have used the little fancy compass and were able to find it in a timely manner.
Yeah. And then so after they found their backpacks, it was their next clue of where they were going.
Correct.
And so it had the directions on how to get there. And there was a little bit of a struggle for everybody, I think, at first.
Right. But I think the good thing about it was that they all were leaving from their hometown. So they kind of knew if I was going north, I need to go this way. Or if I'm going south, I probably should go this way. So I think that might have helped them a little bit.
Well, I think we saw the kind of challenges that most of these contestants have, because it's usually younger people who are on this, and they probably have never used a paper map,
right,
or an atlas or whatever it is. Probably never have used it, and so they don't know how to use it. So you have to learn how to find what you're looking for. But once you get it, you understand it.
Right.
The map is of at least how to read it is the same for everywhere. So, once you figure it out, you're good. But, yeah, just fiddling around with maps, and, some places it's easy to get, lost. But yeah, since the challenge was at the beginning of the episode, these directions were straight to the relative's house.
Right. Once they got the address to the relative's house, they were able to go. Once they got their backpacks, they got the address, and then they were able to get on the road and go to the next city.
Yeah.
Because they're leaving their home city, going to a different city to find their relative.
Well, you know what I thought? And usually we'll see people struggle with the flip phones.
They didn't.
When they take a picture. But everybody seemed to be able to use
right.
it. Now, the show is edited, so
true.
You don't know. But they usually will show when a team, doesn't do well with the photo.
Everybody pretty much did, except Team Black.
Times.
Team Black took their picture a few times, but and then the crowd gathered around them because they thought he was proposing. Yes. So once you get to your city with your relatives, you have to take a city selfie with a sign of the city name in the background to send to Dan to prove that you have gotten to that city.
Yeah, and one of the things I saw was like Team Red, Liz was driving and
yes.
Devin wasn't, and they struggled a little bit.
Right, while Liz was driving.
Yeah, but she went to school there.
Right.
And so she felt like she was better at driving. And I'm just like, okay.
Maybe you should navigate.
They stopped and switched drivers, which is smart, because if they had, not done that, they would still be lost.
Right, because she turned thinking she knew where she was going and then ended up going the wrong direction.
Yeah, and if you're not from a place, like, okay, if I go back to my hometown, then I can probably find most things, and I've been gone for, I don't know, 25
years,
26 years or something. I could find most things, but I don't know all parts of the city.
Right, because the city changes, it grows, highways change and things like that. So if it's not somewhere where you have lived in the last, few years, you need to stick with the map.
Yeah. And so they were able to figure that out. So, and who else struggled trying to find the green team?
The green
a
team,
little bit,
yeah,
Megan
because
and
they were
Monica.
the street name that they were going to. There was a West Meridian and an East Meridian, and they ended up on West Meridian. They should have been on East Meridian.
Yeah, when you're looking at maps and you're reading those, you have to be really careful because, most cities have a north,
Right,
whatever, and a south, whatever, and a west, or whatever. You have to really pay attention to that. You have to pay attention to city names because
drive versus avenue.
It could be really close, and you think you're going to Twin Falls, but it's really Falls,
Right.
Or the Colony or the Colony West,
Right. It could be just as simple as First North Street versus North Street. You just don't know. So they got all the way down the wrong side of Meridian and had to turn around and go all the way back and then find the house on the east side.
Yeah,
so
that was crazy.
Yeah. So the time drive for the teams, the green team had a 2 hour and 19-minute drive. The blue team had a 2 hour and 20-minute drive. The black team had a 3 hour and 8-minute drive, and the red team had a 4 hour and 45-minute drive.
Yeah, and those are pretty good drives.
Yeah.
I think last season we saw one team. I think it's Team Black. They had
Yes.
a really, really long drive. I think they had to do it in 2 days or something. It wasn't.
That was
thinking about the right.
Yeah, there was 2 seasons ago, but it was Team Black. It was the 2 girls, and they started. I don't remember they started, but they ended up going like all the way down to South Florida.
To Florida, yeah.
Yeah, it took a long time. So these drives weren't that bad.
Yep. So, all right. So let's talk about the relatives that everyone met. They were able to, finally get to where they was going, and so who did Team Black meet?
Team Black met Casey's cousin, and when she got there, she presented her with a kind of like a family book. It had pictures in it. It had a family tree on it, and they were able to determine that one of the children of the cousin's grandfather was her parent, and there were 4 children. 3 boys and a girl, and they don't know who is her parent, but they know through DNA that one of the 4 is one of her parents.
And this is because she's adopted. This is the first relative she's ever met that was a blood relative.
Correct.
And so as soon as the lady walked out of the house, you could tell because Casey has a red tint in her hair, and so does this lady.
Yeah.
Her cousin walked out with red hair too. So it's like, okay, this is pretty.
Casey's.
Yeah, this is pretty obvious. What about Team Blue? Who'd they meet?
Team Blue, those are the twins, and they met their first cousin on their mom's side. And their cousin was able to confirm what they had been told that their mother's name was. So they know her first, middle, and last name now. And they also discovered that their ethnicity is Cuban on their mom's side.
Yeah,
which they never knew.
They never knew. They just said, okay, she was white.
Yeah, they just thought that she was white.
Mm-hmm. And the cousin that they met, I think his name was David. He's a first cousin. He's the oldest cousin, and he has some memories of the boys when they were little,
right?
Twins, and so he, got emotional because he remembers them leaving and he never saw them again.
Right.
And so I thought that was, pretty interesting.
Yeah, because a lot of times when I think about relative race, I immediately think about the contestants and the team members meeting their family, and sometimes I forget that the people that they meet have memories of them, or have been looking for them, or have been wondering what happened to them, and that, there could be just as emotional as the actual team members in some cases.
And this is more than just these contestant stories. It's their family, that they're meeting. It's their story too, because they're meeting these people for the first time.
Yeah.
That sometimes they didn't know who they were, or they've been looking for them. So this is more than just about these 8 people.
Right.
It's a lot of other people who's meeting family members for the first time. So these families are expanding, pretty quick with every episode that goes on. So then Team Red, the show Team Red, this was Devin's relatives. It was his cousins that they met.
And one of them looked just like him.
Yeah, she did. But when they showed the family members, his aunts and uncles, so their mom was that right?
That's on his
Devin's
cousin on his father's side.
On his father's side. So it was 12 kids.
12 kids.
And there were 9 boys. And so they don't know which one of the boys, of the siblings was the father.
Right.
But they were able to kind of narrow it down because of age. So, but looking at the pictures of those boys, it could be any of them because they look
right.
Alike.
If they hadn't tried to narrow it down by age, I would have been like, we just gonna have to figure it out from all 9 of them. But they were able to narrow it down so they know it's between 4 of them, which is good. But at least he has a start now.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll be able to narrow that down. Over the next 9 episodes. So. And then there was Team Green, Monica and Megan. Monica met her, it was her cousin, I believe.
Yep.
And for her also, this was the first blood relative that she's ever met.
Right.
So I thought that was interesting. And then...
she also found out what her mother's name is.
Oh, yeah.
She didn't know that. And her cousin was able to tell her what her mom's name is.
So I thought that was those were good, family meetings. People, they learned some information. They learned some names. They saw some pictures.
Right.
And so I think that was a really good.
It was a really good episode. And it just shows you that you just never know who in your family is going to be able to give you that piece that you need to be able to further your research or find more family.
Oh yeah, because these people these contestants could very well be the piece that maybe someone else in their family is searching for. Is searching for too.
Right, and it doesn't have to be, a big piece like you find some will with all this information in it or something. It could be just as simple as your mother's maiden name that could lead you on to be able to find more information.
Yep. So we get down to the end of the episode when it's time to talk. Dan gets a chance to talk to the people and talk about their day.
Their day, yes.
Of course, he started off with Monica and Megan.
He started off with Team Green. Y'all know y'all can use your car, right?
Yeah. So that was pretty. It's still funny to me. I just cannot believe that they tried to walk.
They did though. They put out a good
3 miles.
effort. They put out a good effort. They was gonna find that backpack by foot.
Yeah, they're gonna have to, figure out some better communication style because they can't walk.
No.
And they can't communicate asking each other questions. Like somebody has to make a decision.
It's gonna be interesting how they their strategy develops over time.
Yeah,
these next couple of episodes.
Well, it has to change from.
I feel like they're going to get stronger in some areas.
I hope so. All right, so of course this is a competition.
It is.
It's a race. There's something to it. So, so the first place team gets a benefit to use for the next day. And so for the episode today, the first place winner will get a 5-minute head start on the other teams tomorrow.
Correct.
And so that may not seem like a lot of time,
but it is.
But it's a lot of time, because when I tell you, when we mention the results for today,
I've never seen that before.
Will make a difference.
Oh yeah, it definitely would. And then of course the team that has, the most time will get a strike. 3 strikes and you're out. So
you want to say who was first place?
I will. The first place team came in 23 minutes over, and that was Team Blue.
Yeah, the Twins. I figured they was going to be first because they seem to not have as many problems throughout the thing. They were the first ones to leave to find their backpacks. They weren't?
No, Red was.
Oh, but they weren't that far behind, though.
No, they weren't. I thought Team Black was going to be first because they had a few hiccups here and there, but all in all, they were pretty smooth going out on the road.
Well, the blue team, I think the blue team was too. And just like, I don't forget which twin said it, but he said, well, I had 2 hours on my drive to really study the map.
That is true, because I would have been trying to, sing a song or eat a snack or something. I probably wouldn't have been as focused as him.
No, you wouldn't. I would have made you be focused because number one, we know you're not driving.
I will drive.
You will have to look at that map. So you're not sleeping. I didn't
say sleep. I said eat a snack or sing a song.
Do.
That's what I said.
That's what you normally do.
Eat a snack or sing a song.
Nope.
That's what I said.
But that's not what you normally do.
Who was the second place? No. Who was the second place?
Second place was Team Black,
who came in 24 minutes over their time, which is only 1 minute away from Team Blue. So 1 minute between first and second place.
Yep. And then crazy. And then another minute between the first and the second and third place team.
Right.
So all 3 teams, the top 3, were 2 or 3 minutes
within 2 minutes of each
other.
Yeah.
So 5 minutes.
Yeah,
it's head start can make a difference.
Oh yes,
it can definitely make a difference.
And that makes you think about that wrong turn you took, or something happened and took you too long to get that picture on your city selfie. When you realize that it's only 3 minutes away from every 3 teams, that's not a lot of time.
Right. And then Team Red came in 3rd place, which, like we said, they were 2 minutes behind the first place team.
Yep.
And so that means that Team Green got their first strike.
Right. But they did better than I thought they did, because they came in 38 minutes overtime.
Yes.
So
I thought it was only like an hour.
That's only 13 minutes away from Team Red. So they did a lot better than I thought they did.
Yep. But if you look at it, Team Blue came in 1st place.
Right.
And then Team Black and Team Red, if either one of them had a 5-minute head start, they would have been in 1st place, and they would have gotten the benefit, So, that 5 minutes is going to be a big deal for the blue team.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really good. And I really think, again, that these teams are going to be really good to watch. I think they're going to be funny. I think they're going to give us a good show, I think.
Yeah, all in all, this was a very good episode 1.
Yes.
I thought it was the only thing, and I mentioned it to you when we were watching it, the only thing that I was surprised about is that there wasn't a big reveal.
Correct.
Like a big family member with 1, 2, 3, 4, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of the 8 people on this show are adoptees.
Correct.
And so you would think that there would be one big reveal on episode 1. They're going to be coming down the road.
Yeah, they will, but...
I mean, I'm not mad. The episode was good.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about it. I just feel like there was going to be...
And we had to wait so long for it.
Yeah.
But it was a good episode. I'm really excited to see next week, and Team Blue has this 5-minute advantage, and hopefully it helps them to be able to win first place again. But sometimes you have an advantage and it kind of backfires on you. So it'll be interesting to see if they go from, first to fourth, or, where they go.
Yep. They just have to make sure they use it in the right way. So, okay. I think that's it. That will do it for our very first relative race recap episode. We hope you enjoyed it. We're looking forward to doing this every single week until the end of the season, season 7. So we plan on recording this episode every Sunday night immediately after the episode ends, and we're gonna post it every Monday morning. Cross your fingers by 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So be on the lookout for that every Monday morning. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. We're on Twitter at Gen Journey Blog. The website where Trisha writes her blog, journeythroughthegenerations.com. And then, of course, this podcast. If you're not subscribed already, please do so. Like and follow and share with your family members, someone who may be interested in family research and genealogy. And, Facebook.
Oh, yeah, Facebook.
Yeah, go over to Facebook and
let us know who you're rooting for this season.
Like us on Facebook. You can find us at facebook.com/journey through the generations. And I'll put all that social media down in our episode notes to make it easy for you to find. All right, Trisha, you think that's it?
Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Appreciate you guys for listening. We'll talk to you soon.